I have to start by confessing that I'm a late bloomer to the cult of tripling. The show, of course, came out 2 years ago and instantly sort of popped. I was probably living under a rock. It escaped me completely. But
as long as you're here,
I watched it much more recently and really enjoyed it. I can see why it works because I think that these are such real and relatable characters under all of that humor. I also believe that within each of us, there is either a Chandan or a Chanchal or a Chitwan. Sure. I feel like everyone wants to be a Chitwan because he's sort of bindas and devil may care. But I think most of us are either a Chandan tightly bound or a Chanchal who's sort of, putting up with a lot more shit than she wants to. I, for myself, I feel like I'm a Chandan who wants to be a Chitwan. For the three of you, who do you most easily sort of relate to?
I obviously relate to Chandan a lot.
You do?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like an exaggerated version of myself.
Okay.
Slightly exaggerated. And again, I would love to be Chitwan.
I'm actually, I think I'm a Chitwan in the sense that I'm the youngest in the family, and I don't take on the burden of responsibilities or whatever, and yet I end up saying or doing things which are deep, like how Chitwan does.
True.
In that,
sort of accidentally almost.
Yeah, actually, almost sounds like it's accidental.
It's profound,
and I think I am that, and I'm okay being that.
Okay.
I think generally Chitwan is not a very easy character to relate to. You might want to be him, you might enjoy being around him, but it's very difficult to relate to him because, and which is what I also felt when I read Chitwan and heard Chitwan, and I knew I was going to be playing Chitwan. I was shitting my pants because I thought this is somebody who is not me.
Cooler than you?
Cooler and more. Again, I think I was on my path to becoming a Chandan at that phase of my life. And then I ended up playing Chitwan, and he didn't make sense to me.
Right.
Because as an actor, I wanted to approach him and see कि मैं कैसे करूँ, what is the sense, what is the logic, what is the pattern.
Right.
But I could find no pattern in that character. But I think after playing Chitwan, it sort of affected my life. And I've become cooler. I've maybe after
so the character has rubbed off on you.
Yeah, for sure. You live that for 30 days.
His life is imitating the art, like in season 1 and season 2, both.
Yeah. So and people told me that there was a Chitwan inside me. People who'd known me closely. I had to find it, dig deep into myself, and I think I successfully found it. And then that is, and I kept with it with myself because I didn't want to lose it anymore. So I realized that it's fun. Like people can like this guy.
Right.
So and sometimes you have to be Chitwan because people expect you to be.
Correct.
And sometimes they get disappointed because I'm
not
Chitwan
say, when
enough.
they meet you on the street, like
Some of them get really disappointed. They either want me to play some songs, or they want to smoke with me, and I'm like, nah.
That's not me.
And I can see that look of disappointment in their eyes. Their hearts broken. Chitwan jaisa nahi hai.
Sumeet, you're one of the writers of the show. Who or what were the inspiration for these characters?
So me and Akash, we wrote it together, and both of us have younger siblings. I have a younger sister. He has a younger brother, and we sort of borrowed from the harrows of our experiences with them. I think he's a mix between Aadhar Khurana, Akash's younger brother, and Shruti, my younger sister. Because they do whatever they want to do, and And
so Aadhar I also know pretty well. I know him really as a really good friend. I worked with him also as a co-actor, as a co-writer, and I think Aadhar was one of my pegs.
Okay. So all these three characters are sort of all three of you as characters, Chandan, Chanchal, Chitwan, are based off people that you know.
Of people I've known and interacted with.
Sort of composites of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I always feel that the middle sibling is always a balance of both.
Right.
Like they are a bit of Chandan and Chitwan, and all the middle, like between three siblings, the middle children are always the kinds who are, who borrow stuff from both generations.
Right. When you all returned to season 2, when you all returned to sort of picked up shooting season 2, I would imagine a good year and a half had passed between playing.
Yeah.
Was it sort of easy to get back into these characters? Did you just know them inside out? Did it take some time to go back to playing these guys?
So, before the shoot began, I was panicking. I really was, because so in season 1 there was a lot of workshopping we'd done, there was a lot of readings, we'd spent a lot of time with each other.
But you'd all become much busier by the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the reason why we didn't have time to workshop before. So I was feeling very, very underprepared, and I remember I was stressing. I got this psychosomatic stress cough that I get now, which is a new development. Okay. But I was really worried, and I kept thinking that what if I can't find Chanchal's voice, like, you know, and because it is the same, and this is the first time I'm doing season 2 of anything. Right. So I was like, you know, how is this going to happen and all of that. But the minute we went on set, and the minute I remember the first shot we did was we were sitting in the car, and like, you know, he was driving and he was sitting shotgun with him, and I was in the back seat. And suddenly it just all fell into place, and it was like returning home. Actually, like, it was that smooth. Like, it just happened then, post that. After that, my cough went away. So yeah.
Was it the same for you all?
For me, I think it was a mix of the two.
Did you have to re-find him?
Yeah, the first time I was very nervous because I was looking for this guy. I didn't know who this guy was, trying to form this guy in my head on my notes. This time I knew, I had those notes, I knew what had been created the first time, so वो पता था क्या करना है. But now the challenge was to recreate it.
Sure, to sort of find that consistent thread, right?
To go back to the same thing, because although he's unpredictable, but people associate a certain kind of body language with him, the way he speaks, the way he interacts with his siblings, the kind of reactions he has to whatever is going around him. So that, I think I had to sit down and just revisit and rewatch certain scenes and see, okay, ये उस टाइम में मैंने ऐसे किया था, so this is what I need to do again. Maybe a slightly different version, slightly older version of it, 2 years later, but essentially the same person.
So how much time has passed? About 2 years on the show?
2 years.
2 years.
Roughly 2 years has passed.
Around the same time as between the seasons, I think.
Was it easy to sort of? Was it literally like just getting back into? Was it easy?
Yeah, it was in that sense easy, and also we spent roughly a year writing it.
Right.
Because both Akash and I were busy. He was making a film.
Then you were working with Kareena Kapoor.
Yeah, I was working with Kareena Kapoor. Then we were shooting a film together.
Okay.
And we promised Sameer that, we are shooting together, so we're going to crack something on this shoot. And of course we didn't. But what happened is, through the course of this 1 year, we kept bouncing ideas as to how to take the story forward. And we wanted to explore each and every possibility before we lock in on one that we want to go ahead with.
Right.
And not just do something for the heck of it, you know, because there's even though on the face of it, it's like a light comic fluff drama.
Yeah.
But there is something that happens here. There is something that comes from the gut.
To it, yeah.
True.
And we wanted to retain that.
Right.
You know, that little thread of heart.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I've already spent so much time with the characters. Also, the characters they've grown now,
right?
As people have grown, you know, and so we wanted to show that in the series also, that they've
there's been a growth.
They've seen some life,
right,
since the time we left them.
यार ये हमेशा रायता फैलाता मैंने.
What are you doing?
Escaping content.
अरे पर चितवन.
वो जेल जाता रहता है उसको practice.
You know, one of the things that I enjoyed so much in the first season was the fact that although they sort of don't get along, and they spend all this time apart, they're really not in touch. And the fact that they have messed up relationships with each other, you sort of meet them in the last episode of the first season when you sort of see them at home with their family, and you realize that they've got parents who are extremely loving but also pretty bizarre kind of parents. It's sort of, you know, you feel like that's the glue that kind of binds them together. What are we going to get in terms of that? Is there a little bit more of that? Because I really feel like that last episode gave us an insight into them, that you're kind of trying to figure out why they're like this.
They are the way they are.
And then that fifth episode comes and kind of. Are we going to get more of that?
Not too much of the parents, but yeah, just the feeling of why they are the way they are.
Right.
Because the other day I was talking to my sister about this, that, you know, we are actually behaving like tripling siblings.
Right.
You know, we hardly spend any time together. But I discovered that every time we are under some sort of stress, you know, any kind of stress, personal, professional, somehow we are around each other. Like, I spent a good 1 month with her. Because my house was getting renovated and blah blah blah, and she was going through something, so I was just at her home, and we hadn't done this ever, you know. But I just felt the need that I need to spend more time with her, and it happened. And that's the same feeling that I wanted to create in tripling also, that even though they're doing their own thing, they may not be connected on the phones and blah blah blah, but they're always there for each other when they need it.
Right.
You know, the fate brings them together, and that's the thread.
Okay. I feel like we have to address Chitwan. I feel like the fans will be disappointed if one
They'll
doesn't.
troll you.
They will
I'll have to
completely.
say Baba.
Yeah. He's got some of the best lines and the best moments. Everyone's favorite, of course, is when he plays motherfucker at his sister's in-laws' home, which is actually a palace in Jodhpur. But a lot of the other lines, again, it's some of the stuff is offensive. We should put it out there, but it feels completely real because I feel like there are no filters when you're with siblings, right? It doesn't feel forced. I love the bit in the car when when Chanchal says explains that they're trying to have a baby and they're not able to. And he says, Chanchu, but first he says, Chanchu, tu baan I mean, like, this is stuff. And I love Chandan's reaction. Who doesn't want to, like, sort of, he's the proper brother.
What you can't believe it.
You can't. That's true. And even Polo ke baad.
Polo ke baad, so I like, मैं तेरे को WhatsApp पे picture भेजता हूँ. He's got some nice positions there for best results. So he seems like the guy who knows this shit.
Correct. He knows that, right? So what are we going to see that the fans are going to sort of love about? I mean, are there
there is. I did feel some pressure in the beginning when we started season 2 and we started talking about season 2, especially because the first 2 questions that come up on my Instagram feed or on my DMs and everything is what color is my hair going to be,
right?
And what is the song this time? Is it a new song? Is it a motherfucker taken to another level? Where am I going to be playing it? But which sadly maybe I don't have the answers to for season 2. But I also realized that maybe those can't be the restrictions of this character. Like every time you need to talk about this character, what he's doing in his life.
Correct.
That can't have to be just about his hair.
There should be more to him.
There could be new things.
Right.
What is a new crazy thing that he could be doing in season 2, which is what is happening now. Also, the change that Sumeet was talking about, that people will change in 2 years. All 3 characters will change.
Hopefully there's some maturity. I would imagine the fans don't want this guy to
they don't change,
mature.
But mature externally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
The core is still
or
the same.
in a bizarre way, because these are comparatively more normal people compared to Chitwan, so they will
only
grow
comparatively. Only in relation.
So they will grow in comparatively normal ways.
Right.
And this is okay. 2 years में ऐसा हो सकता है.
Correct.
But with Chitwan, the surprise is that you don't know if Chandan is not been around for 2 years, Chanchal is not been around for 2 years, and if you ask them, what do you think Chitwan is doing right now? There can be infinite answers to.
जेल में हो सकता है.
हाँ, कुछ भी हो सकता है. जेल में हो सकता है. Pending drugs. He's on some NASA, Mount
I love that he
Everest.
keeps trying to pay women to sleep with his elder brother.
Yeah, so it could be, you don't know what profession he's into these days, what thing is picked up. So I think which is the surprise right now, and which surprise I think we are addressing in season 2 also. These guys have done that actually as writers. I just have to go and do those scenes. But there is a surprise in ki 2 saal mein, what is he doing? Right. What is this now?
Correct.
So there is a reaction of what is this? Right. But so that people have to see where he's reached now.
Can I also just say, I mean, what a great opportunity to travel. I mean, this just feels like the show is a bonus. I mean, it really is. Yeah. Does it feel like that, or is it hard work?
No, of course it's hard work.
It's hard work.
Yeah, for sure. But what makes it easy and breezy is
literally,
and and we felt that more in season 2, I think, because we were that sense of familiarity was already there. All the teething issues were taken care of, you know. So now it was like homecoming.
Correct.
And of course, like Sam was there, and it just felt like a family and stuff. But I'm saying, so a lot of it was eased out because of that.
Sure.
So while our schedules were pretty hectic and we were traveling constantly, our call times were insane. Like we were waking up at 3:30 in the middle of winter in Sikkim and all. But yet we didn't. Beyond a point, we didn't mind it. So there was always. Because we were having so much fun throughout. Sure. You don't.
But where did you go this time? The last time it was, of course, there was Jodhpur, there was Batinda, but I think Batinda you didn't really go to. Sort of for the sake of it. And then there was Manali. That was the magic of cinema, of storytelling. So where do you go this time? There's a bigger budget clearly. It's a big show, so now you have to go up.
So where in the story, or where did we actually go?
Sikkim, Gujarat.
Okay.
Kolkata, yeah.
Nice, that's
and varied topographies and climates.
And outskirts of Bombay.
Outskirts of Bombay. But in the story, we go to
Delhi and Lucknow.
Lucknow,
Jaipur.
Jaipur.
So they cover a lot of ground this time.
Yeah.
Sikkim.
I can't wait to know what the plot is, what takes them to all these places.
What is this map?
I recognize from the trailer that, of course, Chandan has written a book about the family, which the others don't seem particularly pleased about.
Yeah.
There's potential for a movie to be made because, of course, Chitwan thinks we're a franchise. Baba mere dolls banenge kya? I love that line. And it seems like Chanchal has joined her husband's. She's a political personality.
Yeah.
What more are you going to
on
say?
her way.
Or on her way.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So what more can you tell?
So yeah,
All of that.
she could or could not be on her way into politics. Then there's also this thing of her suing the brother Chandan for the book. What else are we allowed to say? Are we allowed to talk about?
The actors, yeah. I mean,
Apparently there's a great special
Cameo,
appearance in this.
I believe
It must have been a lot of trouble to get that actor to do that.
Yeah, and we were
Yeah.
so intimidated. We were like, oh my god, how are we going to
That is a surprise. What was the joy of sort of revisiting these characters and the joy of sort of going back? I mean, how do you sort of look at this as a? I would imagine that every job that you do professionally has a sort of place in your heart, in your heads.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you look back at the experience of kind of coming back and doing this? And are you confident that there is more story to tell with these characters and that there will be?
I want a tripling every 1.5 years, 2 years.
Right.
I mean, this is a easier franchise, we felt,
Right.
because it's so journey based, and you would want to grow up with these people,
Right.
and you won't feel this is not a young show anymore, because
Correct.
it's not trying to be a young, youth-oriented show. It's something that appeals to the youth,
Right.
because of the kind of story and narrative it has.
Right.
And also to the parents, actually. I was
Also
damn
parents.
surprised
It's quite
by
universal
what
that way.
the reaction that season 1 got for the parents. A lot of young kids told me that I saw it with my mom, I saw it with my dad, and they loved your character and we loved the show.
It's a different kind of family show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, and and it's like I remember my parents cringing every time there was a gali or some bad word in the first season. Yet they were laughing. It was like, but they're laughing, and it was that reaction. So I didn't watch it with them. They watched it separately. I watched separately. But I'm imagining me watching it with them. I can imagine us. I mean, us enjoying it together.
Right.
While they may have some issues, I may have some other issues, but eventually there's this common ground that we have.
Right.
And,
I recently met this couple again. So they are friends of mine, and they run a small quaint resort in Uttarakhand. And so the parents were slightly
after them.
borrowed
Oh,
from them.
And did they recognize that?
They didn't think of it, and then I told them, the parents are you guys. I said, what? We're not this messed up. I said, no, but just the core value is that they didn't want to just keep making money and get into the grind.
Correct.
They want to actually leave behind a legacy which
sure.
the kids would enjoy.
Right.
So that thought was from them. I said, oh, nice, you think like this of us. Yeah.
And of course, the cars changed. It feels like that Tiago must have taken a real beating in season 1. So there's a new car apparently.
We had a few Tiagos last time.
Right, of course. There must have been more than one.
But I don't know where they are. Because
they're all on the roads, man, because it did so well for the
those specific cars, I don't know. A lot of people
Great.
bought.
I mean, this is really one of those great ideas of integrating a brand with a show. I mean, this really feels like
it was
the way it should be done.
sort of a model
Right.
for a lot of
others,
ad
yeah.
agency guys that this is how
the way to
a
do it,
brand
yeah.
can be integrated. Although we didn't think too much of it
Correct.
when we were doing it.
There are a few people who call the show Tiago.
Right.
I saw you in Tiago, tripling with Tiago. Yeah. So that word did stick, which is a good thing, which is a great thing for a brand, I think.
Right. I thought we should end by sort of playing this little game. You'll have siblings on the show. Most likely to is the game. So I'm going to give you a situation. I want you to point to each other who you feel is sort of most likely to. Yeah.
Okay.
So who's most likely to forget his or her lines on set? The one who
The
writes
one who
them.
writes them. Because he writes them, he's like, ye to mujhe pata hi hai.
Nice. Who's most likely to complain about his or her costumes?
Always.
Okay. Who's most likely to demand fancy food even in far-flung locations?
Anything
Between the
related
three of
to
us.
food
Food is Sumeet. Okay.
is his domain.
Who's most likely to get mobbed by fans while shooting on location?
I think
no, okay.
all of us, yeah.
Okay.
I'll just be
Who's
modest.
most likely to be glued to his or her phone in between takes?
Yeah.
It's fairly universal. Yeah, I mean, There's no dispute
come
on
on,
that.
no, I'm
He's playing a game, this one, and this one is on social media. So technically they're both glued, but
I'm glued,
yeah.
They're doing different things.
Yeah.
I live in my phone, I think, practically now.
Who's most likely to grumble about long shooting hours? Maybe.
I think physically,
Tell them that
only
productivity theory.
6 to 8 hours is when a human body is productive.
Right.
Human brain is. Beyond 8 hours, I just want to know when are we going to wrap up. So 8 hours tak I'm really enthusiastic, and then I'm just like,
He's got a whole theory worked out.
खत्म होगा ये क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग? Why am I here?
So
It's all
technically,
cute grumblings,
So this 6 hours. So by 5.5 hours, because he knows it's not going to be over
So
in the
he's
next
only
half an
5.5 hours of real productive.
Yeah, so 100% productivity is 5.5 hours. The last half an hour is anticipation of the.
Then you're a very expensive actor. So
but he does it anyway.
who's most likely to ruin a take due to a laughing fit?
And then because of that, it rubs off on both of us as well. Yeah.
Who's most likely to behave like a diva in challenging locations?
Shut. Just because he said diva the word, huh? Otherwise,
Can I tell
Yes,
you a
please.
story?
You must.
So
What should
in
we say?
Ahmedabad, we were not happy with the hotel because the rooms were really small and cramped.
Right.
You know, I felt that it's a small room. Then we went to Kolkata and we had massive rooms, a vintage hotel. I had a jhula in my bathroom.
And I think it was because of the conversation.
And I went to their room saying, "Hey guys, this hotel is great." And she's like, "I don't like this hotel. Why are these rooms so big?"
That's a diva.
What? What? This is so big. There's a pillar in my room. I don't like
There
it.
was a random pillar in the middle of the room, and it had a very like ghostly feel. That was my
Okay.
because it was huge and old. But I remember their reaction. Like they were just like they're like. What are we supposed to say to that? Like, we don't even know,
nothing
like,
pleases her.
And they thought like, is she for real? Like, is she kidding or what?
I don't know how to empathize with that.
Blueprint nikal le. Kiतने square feet
Correct,
में
correct.
room
So you
Yeah.
design the room and we'll
Blueprint,
find
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Okay. And finally, who's most likely to spend more time than anyone else in hair and makeup? Getting hair and makeup done.
Oh, yeah, both of them
No,
actually.
I think
I mean, more than I should, I think.
You're, okay.
yeah.
He's
mine
sort of-
is
You
just
just
by
saw it.
default because
Right.
You just saw
we
it.
did actually.
Yeah.
Yes, you were the last to sort of arrive. Well, I want to sort of end by asking you, what for you is going to mean success when this season drops on the 5th of April? What is the reaction you're hoping to hear that'll make you feel like, okay, we achieved what we set out to do?
I mean, I'll tell you, I'll give you an example. When Lage Rao Munna Bhai came out, the second installment,
Yeah.
I went in with the anticipation that this won't be as good as the first one.
True.
And I came out with that, oh my, this is better.
Right.
I actually loved it more.
Right.
You know, and I don't know how he managed to do it again with the same characters. And so that was a constant thought in my mind that whenever we make a second season, people should finish watching me saying, oh, this was even better.
Right.
You know, I don't know how did they manage to do it again.
Sure.
So that was the idea.
Okay.
I hope this happens.
No, but what he said for Lage Rao Munna Bhai, I had that exact feeling for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel season 2.
True.
So because I loved season 1 and when I began watching season 2, I was like, see that one line premise is taken care of in
Yeah.
season 1. So
Yeah.
I want to see where do they take the story
Correct.
and what do they do
Yeah,
with
what
the
are you doing
character
with it?
and
Right,
everything.
right.
But I thought they did such a good job. They grew, like the characters grew, the story grew, and keeping the essence the same.
Right.
Like, you know, they didn't
Correct. It didn't
move
go
away
yeah,
from
yeah,
that.
yeah. They didn't become different people because
Of different people, or you know, or that crux remained
Correct.
the same. Everything else, I mean,
It's
there
true
was
to
added
what it was,
to it.
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I want that kind of a feeling that, oh boy, like you know, the season 2 is just level up of
Right.
season 1.
Right.
I guess, yeah.
I'm nervous. Yeah, so I was not nervous till maybe 2-3 days back.
Okay.
In fact, during while we were shooting, also this thought of this is season 2, will it be as good or better than season 1? ये सब मैं नहीं सोच रहा था. I was like,
Then
yeah,
the
अच्छा
trailers
ही
and the
होगा,
hoardings
let's see.
went up.
You know, trailers are coming out. Even then, like our trailer, nice reactions or good reactions, or happy. But I think last 2-3 days we've been promoting, we've been talking a lot. And
As the
suddenly
date
that
comes closer.
date is
Now it's
close,
real.
Yeah.
Butterfly.
Now I know the day that the moment that episode drops, your phone, if I open my phone, there will be stuff in that.
Good
I
or
don't
bad?
know what that stuff is going to be.
Right.
I am getting a good feeling because from the feeling that everybody like Sam and all I've been talking to, I've told him I'm not going to watch. I usually don't watch episodes at least before they go on air. Sometimes not even after they've
So
gone
you've seen
on air.
nothing of.
I have seen nothing. I
What
will
about you
not see
guys?
anything.
Nothing.
No.
I've seen a little because of
Maybe on the
dubbing
5th
and
also
stuff.
I won't see. Like I just wait for those reactions.
Okay.
Even mostly when I go to screenings, my own screenings, I am outside.
Okay.
So I just go like, chalo, and I just step back and then I wait for people to come out and react. So I know what's. So I don't want my own reaction to affect me, affect my enjoying other people's reactions.
Right. Well, all the best. It looks like there's a lot of excitement for this one.
Yes.
Congratulations on creating something that people really love. I think it's very rare to create something that people hold close to their heart and characters that sort of stay with you. I feel like sort of saying goodbye Chandan, Chanchal, and Chitwan. I don't even feel like saying your names, but thank you. Looking forward to lots more. I know I will be there on the 5th of April. Very sort of in line to watch. I will be sort of watching it. I'll be looking forward to watching it. Thank you so much. Thank you
so much.